All right, everyone. We are back with From the Margins with my friend James Auffant. James Auffant is a Central Florida attorney, specializes in Social Security disability, if I remember correctly. Uh,
You're correct.
Jimmy is a former Democrat official in the local and state Democratic organizations. He's a avid stamp collector. He's a wise man when it comes to politics, and he's a father and grandfather. Jimmy, welcome back.
Welcome back to everybody. And I hope you had a great week and you're prepared for Christmas. Because if you're not, it's kind of late to prepare yourself, being
That would
that
be me.
we're at the end of the. Yeah. So, with that, yes. So, let's jump into it. First of all, Bondi Beach is a tragedy. But what is more of a tragedy is that these things keep repeating themselves. And a week later, we forgot about it. It's not, if we're going to talk about, we could talk about New Zealand, where basically a couple of years ago, somebody went into a mosque and shot a bunch of people.
Yes.
So it was the reverse. Uh, Now we had people that went and shot people at an event that was supposed to be a Jewish event. Yes, that is tragic and should not happen. Showed us a person of Muslim descent that disarmed a person who was shooting at Jewish people. So maybe that should teach us something, because we try to criticize a whole faith and a whole group of people, but the person who disarmed that person was a Muslim, and he was of Arab descent, and basically he risked his life to save others. So maybe we should also think about that, because at times we tend to forget of these little heroes. We tend to, yes, we should discuss the matter of these people being shot, and that is bad, but we should also give praise to those who came and said, I don't care. He has a rifle in his hand. I'm going to jump to somebody who has a rifle in his hand and who's shooting people, and I'm going to try to disarm him. And that's taking your life in your own hands. So basically,
Yes.
that's something that we should praise him for that. And by the way, he was shot by the other shooter, who was the son of the guy that he disarmed. So uh, it becomes an interesting thing. And what is so sad is that this has become a norm, not only in this country, but in the world. And we tend to say, well, that's wrong. It shouldn't happen this way. It shouldn't happen that way. But it is happening. And what's even sadder is that the comments of people on the side. It's like when the president made his comments about
Right.
Rob Reiner, those were dumb as dumb comes. And then the prime minister of Israel decides to criticize the prime minister of Australia, saying it's his fault. That's kind of tacky. But then again, Netanyahu's never been one of a classist person either, because saying that did not help the situation. It's not going to bring anybody back to life, and it's not going to do anything to improve relationship. So that was kind of dumb. So maybe what we should be doing is praying for those who are wounded and those who are deceased, and pray for their family, and hope that someday we come to our senses. Because right now, I don't see it in the near future.
Right.
Uh,
I know what's really concerning that it was a father-son duel who were allegedly the shooters at Bondi Beach, and also allegedly they received their training several years ago. I think dating back to 2019, um, in the southern Philippines, in enclave controlled by the Islamic State. And so when I heard that, my concern peaked again about, the extremism that we're seeing and how it is coming out, how it's being displayed in this violence. And, we've had very tense summers, particularly recently here in America in regards to the war between Gaza and Israel, and this pushback against Israel, against Jewish people. We've seen the violence, against the folks in Bondi Beach, shootings here in America, the violence on campus, on college campuses. Jimmy, should there be a greater attention given to the rise in Islamic extremism or violence from these individuals who have not let go of, wanting to destroy America and, its allies?
I'm not sure if it's addressed to America and its allies, but to a certain degree, we need to understand certain things. There are a group of them who blame the United States and Israel for the killings in Gaza. And if we're going to be completely honest, that's not been handled very well, to say the least. That's to put it mildly. So I think they said, hey, here's a silver platter. This is something, they're using U.S. weapons backed by Trump, and Trump has done nothing to stop them. And yes, that is creating a problem. And I think that we need to understand that this war has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. It's not something new. It's not something that happened last month. It's become more now than it was in the past. I really don't know. I mean, we have to remember that they blew up the towers, and the towers blew up, by the way, by people from Afghanistan and from our good ally,
Saudi Arabia.
Who financed it? Okay.
That's correct.
So we tend to think that it's only people from Gaza. No, it is a general thing. And this fight has been going on. We bombarded Iran because we tell the world that they have nuclear weapons. Mossad has been killing all they're not even denying. They've been killing all the scientists, nuclear scientists in Iran. I mean, they've been targeting them and killing them. And some people say that this guy in MIT is in retaliation. How true that is, I do not know. I don't want to speculate. But the problem that we have is that we don't tend to think, okay, we could take out all these people, kill all these people, and it's not going to be a consequence. And that is something that I think we need to understand. We have to understand that this war is going to continue going. This war is not going to end. I don't care. Netanyahu's saying that once he kills everybody in Gaza, that's going to be a solution to the problem. No, that's going to create more soldiers. Seriously, it's going to create more soldiers. So it's really something that to say that these people are taking arms, but there's really no reason for them to take arms.
Mm-hmm.
Is that naive or not accepting the reality? This is a war that's been going on. They kill some, the others kill some, they kill some. It's been going on for years. And unfortunately, sometimes it comes to America. The colleges, I don't think they were that violent. I think we were surprised that a lot of the young kids got their information from TikTok, and they were seeing children and women being killed in Gaza by Israel troops. And they did take a position that maybe was kind of difficult for most people to understand, because if you talk to them, half of those people who were protesting in colleges were Jewish kids. We don't want to say that. They were Jewish kids. And they would say, we don't approve killing women and children. And so it is kind of difficult for us to accept that our media has not done a fair job of telling everything that's happening. As a matter of fact, our media has been kept out of Gaza. We know that. What they get is secondhand, third-hand through TikTok. As a matter of fact, there's more information coming out through TikTok than there's coming from our media. So it's sad
Sure.
to say that, but it is. But extremists, yes, that they feel attacked and they feel that they should attack. That is the problem. That unless something sits down and tries to fix this, yeah. But don't worry. We heard from our president last night lie that he's ended 8 wars when 4 of those were conflicts that were not open wars that he's
Right.
counting, and the other 4, 2 of them have restarted again, and the 2 big ones, which are Ukraine and Gaza, he's been able to do nothing. So we'll see.
Right. And I know we were talking off camera about this earlier. I it was hard to take to listen to the president's speech, and I've always stated that watch and listen to the people around the president, because they're the ones who are affecting the change and making things work. You mentioned the president and his social media posts on Rob Reiner, and it's disappointing that the president, despite him and Reiner going back and forth, Reiner was hard on the president, and vice versa.
And so am I.
Right. It's sad that the president could not just say, "Hey, these circumstances are horrific. It's sad, and it's uncalled for." And to wish the family, his best, that they recover through this, they get through the deaths of Reiner and his wife, but he couldn't do that. And
As a
that
matter
was
of fact, he couldn't even keep quiet and say, "Okay, if I've not good to say, let me just say nothing," which would have
right.
been the perfect thing to do.
And it's been a shitty week for the president. Not on top of that, you have Susie Wales, his is it Wales or Wiles? Wiles,
Wow.
Wiles, a native of Floridian politics, Florida politics. Having a 11-month conversation with was it Vogue? I think it was. I can't
No,
remember.
Vanity Fair.
Vanity Fair. Thank you. And saying the things that she was saying, it's like, yikes! Wow. And I think you got to take things in the right context. However, boy, awful timing for something like that. And you know, his speech last week, degrading the Democrats and liberals when they talked about affordability. It's been a bad week for the president, and
Hey,
he gets in front of himself too many times.
well, look, this is the thing that you say people around him, the people around him enable him. Look, I'm
Yeah.
going to say
Okay.
this in a very clear way. Those of you who expected him to come out Wednesday night and be presidential and talk in a presidential manner, you're idiots.
Yeah.
That's not him. It's never been him, and it is not him.
That's right.
Those of you who were thinking that he was going to be honest and say something truthful, God, he didn't say everything that came out of his mouth was a lie. Oh, is that the first time that everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie? No, he's a liar, and we know it, and we know that he says lies. I mean, and it is sad because they put him there because they know they're bleeding. They say, well, maybe he could come out here and read from the teleprompter and go in there. Well, let me put it this way. You said people around him. I doubt that he wrote what was in the teleprompter. That's not him. Somebody wrote it for him. So let's see what he said. The worst inflation ever. Well, no, the worst inflation was 40 years ago, and it was 23%. Okay, right now, when he took office, inflation was 2.3, and with his tariffs, it went up to 3. So it increased under him. 7 points, no big deal, fine. But that's a lie. He said that crime is up. To be quite honest, crime is down. The
Right.
numbers for 23 and 24, crime is down. That's undisputed. 25 million people came through the borders. And those people who came through the borders, and here I want to quote him because this is how stupid it is that he
Okay.
came. He said, and some of these were criminals, and some of them came from mental institution and insane asylums. Basically, they're the same thing. Mental institution and insane asylum,
Yeah.
the same way, or quite the same building, a different way, but it's the same thing.
Yes.
The number, according to immigration, is 11 million, which is bad. Don't
Yes.
misunderstand me.
11 million
But
is
it's not 25. Okay, so he couldn't get that one also. But the one thing that bothers me more than anything else is that inflation was bad in the year 2022.
Okay.
It went up to 9.1.
Yes.
But our memory is short. Does anybody know why inflation was bad in 2022? Well, it's very simple. It was COVID. But COVID was in 20. Yes. But the checks started going out in 21 and in 22.
That's
And
right.
there was a lot of spending. We got checks from the government twice, and those things through the inflation through the roof. And who
Correct.
passed the laws that approve these funds? Donald Trump. Okay? So if we want to talk about these things, let's talk about these things. The truth of this is that right now, he said that gas was $1.99. I don't know where because
Not here in Florida.
not here.
$2.99.
$2.99, and sometimes it goes up past $2.99. Normally, the price in Florida is $3.19.
Yes.
So it's not even that close. Now, he has a problem that he did not address at all. Look, the problem that we have in this country right now is Affordable Care Act, also known as Obama, which we all know that the subsidies disappeared, and that Mike Johnson has refused to meet with the House, even though 4 of his people went with the Democrats and are going to force a vote on it because they want to get reelected, and
Right.
with those prices, they're not going to get reelected, and they know it. He did not discuss that. What he did discuss all the time is, I inherited the biggest mess of all times, and I've been fixing it. Well, it wasn't a big mess. It was a mess. Yes, there was inflation at 2.3, and you brought it up to 3 points. It was an inflation about costs, and no costs has come down except eggs. And the only reason eggs came down is because they found more chickens to lay eggs, and that just reduced the price. But everything else has been going up, and everybody knows it. Him saying that he's fixing the economy is this. It's the old game. I'm going to blame my predecessor for everything that's happening today. But where he forgets is this. Who promised it in day one he was going to fix it? He did.
He did.
Who said that it was a simple fix? He did.
He did.
So he created his own problem. He promised something that he's not delivered. And what is he doing? Oh, I'm going to blame the previous administration. And he'll probably do that all of next year. And if that's their defense,
It's over.
It's over. As a political strategist, this has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. If that's what you're going to go and campaign on, it's over. Because basically, let me tell you what it is. You're admitting that you can't fix it. Okay? You're admitting that was the problems that we have today, you cannot fix it. And because it was so bad what they created, but I'm incapable of fixing it. So it's going to be an interesting 11 months. But once people get hit with increase in their health insurance policies, it's game over. It's game over.
and that's hard to take. It's I think about 14 million people are on Obamacare or receive Obamacare subsidies, and now the numbers the subsidies go back to pre-COVID years, so 2020. Um, but of course, healthcare costs increase over those years. I don't think a simple conversation among Democrat Democrats and Republicans are going to solve this. And frankly, I'm done with extending the conversation, extending subsidies to insurance companies, and then debating it just before an election or trying to affect some type of change in the potential outcome of an election. I think this is a time where both Americans who receive the subsidies and Americans who pay private insurance and Americans who don't have insurance to have a conversation with their legislators and say, hey, resolve this now and forever. But unfortunately, I think the political will across the board is just not there.
It's not there because, first of all, they call it Obamacare, and that's why Republicans hate it. It's not that it's a bad plan. It's not that it cannot be fixed. It's not that it's not popular. 14 million people have it. And the other thing that people do not realize is that healthcare is going up for everybody else because there's going to be no subsidies. And those subsidies that companies are receiving, like they like to talk about people who hire 50, 60 people. Those people are also receiving subsidies under Obamacare. Okay, those employers. And when they don't receive it, they're going to pass those increases to their employees because they cannot pay for it. So they're going to say, hey, Joe, sorry, but the price went up. It's on your shoulders. And that is also going to create a problem. And the solution is very simple. I agree with you. Subsidies are not the answer. I agree with you that Obamacare is not the answer. There's a very simple answer. And it's a very simple answer, but people, when I say it, don't misunderstand me. It's time for us to seriously think of Medicare for all. Medicare is not free. Let's start by that. It's not free. But it's an industry of two parts. One, bingo, you can just keep your straight Medicare and you don't have to, you pay your, your deductibles and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go on an Advantage plan. Now, insurance companies are killing to get people on Advantage plans because they make money off those people.
Right.
So when you say, well, wait, hey, 3/4 of those people are going to go with an Advantage plan, which what the government's going to say, here's what we're going to pay for David Washington, and you manage it, and you make your money the way you can, and they have found a way to do that. So basically, at this point, that might be the other solution, because realistically, you're right. The subsidies cannot keep going on forever because health insurance keeps going up. But if you have health care that's Medicare for all, and basically what the government says, for each citizen of this country, I'm giving you $190 a month, and you handle their health insurance for them, that will be much cheaper. Believe it or not, it will be much cheaper for the government, and the people will be better off. And that way we don't have to worry how much do you make, how much don't you make, how much this and that.
Right.
Is that socialized medicine? No. Stop lying about it. It's not socialized. It's what it's saying is that the government is making sure that everybody is insured. If everybody's insured, the price goes down because the price goes up because of people who go to the hospitals and have to be provided with. Now, before you come say, well, is that going to include people who are not citizens? No. But you have a problem here. if we're going to say that we're not going to cover non-citizens for services, we might want to make an exception for them that they don't have to pay sales tax, property taxes, or income taxes. Because once they pay that, there's where the problem becomes, that they're taxpayers. And now taxpayers are entitled to certain benefits. And those benefits do not require citizenship. There's where we have a problem. You want to change that? Yes. Change immigration laws, which we're afraid to do. So the Republicans need it to run on, and the Democrats need it also to run on. So they're not going to fix it. But that is a solution. If you don't want the subsidies, I agree. You want to eliminate Obamacare? Yes. Medicare for everyone.
I was mistaken earlier, Jimmy, when I said 14 million people are receiving ACA subsidies. I was looking it up, and it's approximately 21 million Americans receive the ACA subsidies. That's down from a record of 23 million in the past. So I just wanted to make the set the record straight.
And by the way, for those of you who think that it's that people do not want the plan, no, it's down because once you become 65, you get Medicare. So you don't qualify for Obamacare. Just so everybody knows.
Exactly.
And the largest group of people who are on Obamacare, you'll be surprised when I say this, it's people over the age of 55 who can't get insurance because of their age. And the only way they can really afford to have health insurance is through Obamacare. We think that we have the best medical care in this country. We probably do. I have never seen any other place, so I cannot say. But I could say one thing. But we also have the most expensive health care in the world. And that's something that we should not be proud of. We should find a way that, we all get health insurance. That's why I say, Medicare for everybody. Here's an insurance company. Here's this amount of money, and you handle it. And by the way, so you know this, who pays for Medicare? We do.
We do. Every day we work, we pay into Medicare.
Well, not only that, those people who are retired, they don't get Medicare for free. They have to pay $190 a month for their Medicare. So, with all due respect, if we say to the people, you have to pay $190 a month, the government doesn't have to pay a penny.
Good point. That's a very good point.
It is a matter. Look, people who are poor will always qualify for Medicaid, or should qualify for Medicaid. But those who are middle class, you tell them, hey, I'm going to give you health insurance for $190 a month. You would jump on it in 2 weeks, in 2 days.
So fast.
So it's a matter of how we can manage it. This is the reality of this country. The reality of this country is that basically who runs the House and who runs the Senate is insurance companies, and they control this. As a matter of fact, 60 Minutes had a special last Sunday in which insurance companies refused to pay for treatment simply because of the cost. Not because it was not medically treated, but because it was too expensive, which it was. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
Okay.
But then again, there will be those who say, well, should we really be pricing health? Well, no. But under Medicare, those plans, they control the prices of medication. To a certain point, we're going to have to find a solution. But our legislators are too busy fighting each other and insulting each other and solving our problems. That's why I keep saying to you, your problem is not the federal employee who needs to be fired. That's not going to solve your problems. Your problems is that your House and senators do not work together, and they're not there working for your best interest. They're working for the best interest of the big, the rich, and the powerful. The big, beautiful bill, fuck the middle class and the poor, and help the rich. It's a simple math thing. You can say whatever you want, but it is.
And this all leads to the affordability issue that presumably will be the main theme of the 2026 election cycle. The Democrats can't just say, oh, look at what the Republicans failed to do. They were in charge. They did not extend the subsidies. They've got to have a legitimate plan also. They have something not just for extending the ACA subsidies for the 21, 22 million Americans, but they need to have a plan to bring down health costs for every American. And I'm hoping that voters will be listening very carefully to the different arguments that the both party will be making in regards to this particular issue. Yeah, it is about affordability. And more that we're drilling down even further from it's about the economy, stupid. It's about affordability, and healthcare is an issue for everybody.
And the issue with healthcare is affordability. Can I afford a decent plan? Can I afford to have health insurance? Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? No, I cannot. I have to pay my rent. I have to pay for food. I have to pay for my car. I cannot pay the amount. And particularly, we tend to forget about something. Uh, Healthcare is not about James Auffant or David Washington. It's about a John Smith who has 3 kids and a wife, and either him or her, through their employer, carry health insurance. And I remember that I met a couple many years ago where they had 3 kids, and she worked, and the only reason she worked, she joked about it, is to have health insurance because at the end of the month she got less than $900 in her paycheck.
Mm.
But she had health insurance. And that's what I'm trying to say. That is the part of this country that we don't think of. We think that everybody's lazy. We think that everybody just doesn't want to pay the money. We think that the people are cheap. No, 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 no.
Okay.
There are people who work from paycheck to paycheck. We know that, and those people are angry. Those people are okay. And if they cannot afford to have health insurance, it is affordability. If they cannot afford to pay for their car, it's affordability. If they cannot afford to pay for their food, it's affordability. So basically, yes, it is, at the end, it's the economy, stupid. And when he went last night and blamed the Democrats and said that he brought $18 trillion of business to this country, when the website of the White House says 8.1, and half of those were brought by Biden, it's kind of interesting when he says that the cost of medication is going to go down because he negotiated something. None of my costs of my medications have gone down a penny, but more power to you. Just go forward and bring it to the American people. This is where we have to understand. What is making people angry is that they cannot afford the basics. What is making people angry is not that the tariffs, is that the tariffs are adding to the cost of the products that they're buying. Tariffs they don't care about. And by the way, I think the U.S. Senate just voted to eliminate the tariffs with Canada. So that might be something.
Really?
Yes. The other thing
Wow.
that's really going to come down, and it is going to be interesting, is that people tend to think that he could just go and say, hey, everything is okay, and people will buy it. There is a percentage of American people that if he says drink Clorox, they went and they drank it. For the record, that will follow him. But right now, the amount of people that don't believe that he's doing a good job is in the 60s. No party has ever been able to recover midterm when their candidate, when the president and their party has people in the 60% believing there are the wrong solution for their problems. So yeah, look, they put him out there last night because they know they have a problem. The thing that I don't think they really were able to prepare him is to say, Look that you have empathy. He's incapable of doing that because he doesn't know what that is. Don't yell. Don't lie. Don't exaggerate numbers. And don't look like you don't have a solution. And the whole speech last night, and now this is my question to you. Can I ask you what solution did Donald Trump offer to make your life more affordable?
And none. That's the answer. None.
None.
Zero.
He says they were wrong. They brought on these criminals. They brought all these crazy people. They did this. They did that. But the economy is great. He was saying the same. This is what I found fascinating. It's their fault that the economy is bad, but I've made it great. So what is it? Is it bad?
Right.
Is it great? Because you can't have it both ways. But it's going to be an interesting way to see how it is going to go out this week. It's going to be Christmas. It's time to be with family. It's time to be with loved ones. And to be quite honest, I've never seen this close to Christmas negative politics this big. And it really surprises me. You had your president on the 17th of December going out there and chastising the other side and going out there and yelling at people and saying to them basically, it's your fault that things are wrong, are bad. And I hate to say, I agree with it. It is their fault that things are bad. And you're going to ask me, why do I think it's their fault that things are bad? You elected Donald Trump. Or you allowed him to be elected by staying home. One or the other. But basically, Donald Trump is part of the problem. He's not been the solution. And it's sad because realistically, he does not listen. When you say to people around him, I'm not sure how much he listens to them. Because I'm sure that Susan Wild said, don't yell, don't rush it, take your time, be presidential, don't raise your voice. And everything she told him,
Out the window.
basically because, I mean, anybody who's ever managed a candidate or a campaign
Ooh.
would have to say, whoa, that's not what I told him to do.
Yeah.
Wow, that did not help his chance to get reelected. But that's Donald Trump. He can't change.
You're right. It's hard for him to change and to adapt and give people what they need to hear. I think also there's this assumption by the president that, hey, I'm doing enough. I'm letting you all know with the executive orders signing ceremonies and speeches across the country, across the world, that things are better. However, Americans have short memories and they don't dig into the details like you and I do. And so, I think he gets in front of the camera thinking, oh, you all should know this. That type of approach to the American voter.
Well, and I'm going to say this. He signed the thing with marijuana, which is kind of interesting because the conservatives are not happy with that,
Yes.
which is his base. The liberals are not going to vote for him because of this. Maybe Bill Maher will vote for him because of the marijuana thing. But other than that, I can't think of any other liberal who will vote for it because of the marijuana thing. Because really, it's doing nothing. Because most states that have legalized it have done it in a different way. And by the way, now that we're bringing up marijuana, did you read the article in the Sentinel about how DeSantis took our money for the poor and used it to defeat the marijuana
Amendment 4.
Okay.
I saw an article about that last week, and I think this was the Hope Schools money,
Yes.
uh, and then also his AG Altmaier was also part of that,
Yeah.
and it just smacks of like, first of all, stupidity and also fraud.
And corruption. And I'm going to say this. Uh, this is why there's a division in Florida Republican Party. There is
Mhm.
a big division. Those who are with Thompson, those who are with Collins, and those who are with the other person whose name escaped me.
Renner,
Renner. Thank you. Because basically at this point, they don't trust each other, and
yeah,
there's very well divided. Granted, granted, I still understand that Nikki is with Jolie and not
Jimmy's.
with Demi's, but don't worry, she will pay a price for that. I'll make sure of that one. But it's going to be interesting when the corruption comes out for DeSantis. And by the way, I don't see what he's going to do. For the next 2 years, he's going to be out of public eye. For the next 2 years,
Yeah.
he might decide to run for president, but he's got to go against Vance, against Rubio, against well, a lot of people, who are going to run once Donald Trump is going to be out of office. And it's going to be interesting to see if they have the charisma that Trump had to
Oh,
bring these people into camp and to make sure that they vote for him. I think that it's going to be an interesting day. Now,
this is
any
a good segue. This is a good segue to get to comments made by your listeners and your viewers. And we were just talking off camera about our numbers, and I want to thank our viewers and our listeners for viewing our content and commenting, as particularly in commenting. We really appreciate it. And one piece of content, short form content, has taken off in the last, I think, hour or so. And Jimmy, it's you made comments in regards to this topic, the truth about Trump's promises, what went wrong, and that has received 14 comments, and I'd like to just read a few and let you comment on their comments. And so, Bruno B. Lady or Bruno Baldi, Bruno Baldi says, hard to fix things when you get blocked on anything and everything. Your thoughts, Jimmy?
who's blocking him?
Hmm?
The House is going to. Mike Johnson's done everything he has, including keeping the House out for 2 months so they couldn't vote on the Epstein file release. The Senate has given him everything that he wants. The Supreme Court has not blocked anything to him, if anything is given. So I'm not sure Bruno, what you're talking about. What has been blocked? If you could tell me, I'll be more than glad to answer. But just to make a general statement that he's been blocked, I can't think of anything that he's been blocked on.
Okay. And this is from M. Dion1. He states, so you're saying everything was broken? That's a good point.
Look, I have never said in this program that Biden's administration was a great administration and that there weren't things to be fixed. Never said that. Difference from you, who won't admit that there's things that need to be fixed in the Trump administration. I admit that there was things that need to be fixed in the Biden administration. But after 11 months, they haven't been fixed. And let's be honest, the topic was promises. He promised day one he would fix everything.
Yeah.
And that was his words.
Yes, he did.
And we're here almost a year later, and things are worse, not better. They're worse. Prices are worse, and everything else is worse. Did Biden not do certain things that he needed to do? Yes, I would
Yes.
agree with that. And that includes the border. Oh, a Democrat admitting this.
Oh,
No. But
oh
would
yeah.
you admit that he's done nothing to bring back down the prices of things, that he hasn't really given us any tax breaks, that he's done nothing for health insurance, he has done nothing that would make our life easier economically at all, and that if anything, he's pissed off all our allies to the point that the people in Europe said, we cannot depend on the United States. Well, guess what? We cannot depend on Europe.
Wow. Johnny 2 times 3
Two
on
times three, I like
TikTok,
that.
on TikTok also says, it's been a year. The Democratic Party is the anti-American party. Fact.
Well, that's an interesting way to put that. It's the anti-American party. I don't think either of them are the pro-American party. I would have said that. I would have said that they're pro their own pocket party. Yes.
Mhm.
Not sure if you could be more elaborate why you think that the Democratic Party is the anti-American party. I hear people say that, and I hear people say that the Republican Party is the racist party, and I hear people saying that the Democrat Party is the liberal party, and I hear people saying that the Republican Party is a party for the rich and against the poor. Look, that's a statement. I'm a man of facts. Bring me your facts that prove that the Democrat Party is the anti-American party, because with all due respect, that's bullshit. I'm trying to find a better way to say that's bullshit. They're not. They don't. They lack in certain areas. I will accept that, and so do the Republicans. Lack in certain areas, yeah, but that doesn't make them anti-American.
Right. James Bueller, 75, stated, you can't fix a country in 12 months. Some people are impatient.
Well, you're right. You can't. But why promise that you would? The problem, the premise I pouted from was not did he do a good job? Did he do a bad job? It was promises that he made and did not keep. He said that from day one he was going to fix the economy. He didn't. He said from day one he was going to fix the prices. He was going to get the food prices reduced. He didn't. You see, the premise of my comments is he promised this and he could not deliver on his promises. I knew he couldn't. And you're right. In 11 months, he couldn't. But he was the one who said he could. And now you're trying to say, well, yes, but the promises are severe. I agree with you. They are. But he promised he could fix them in day one. As a matter of fact, he kept saying it was a simple solution. That was his own word. This is a simple solution. Well, guess what? He did. Inflation was 2.3 when he took office, and now it's 3.0. So basically, it's not that he hasn't not fixed it. If anything, he's made it worse. So it's promises kept. He made the promises and he didn't keep them.
All right. Now, I have a good one here. And you know something? I just want to say this about our viewers and our listeners, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or across all of our social platforms. They are some well-read and thoughtful individuals, Jimmy, because to this particular content have a very interesting statement. And I applaud the gentleman, and I may butcher how I pronounce the name because it's not an easy one, but I've heard it before. Chumbawamba's Batos. Chumbawamba Toes. There we go. Chumbawamba Toes. And Chumbawamba Toes states this, Jimmy. The changes he's implementing are legendary. Just look at the FSOC report. One day, the left will have to admit that he was one of the greatest American presidents. Just look at the FSOC report, the Financial Stability Oversight Council report. Jimmy, to see that, I applaud Chumbawamba Toes for mentioning this because this is one of the most important reports that has been published along with the National Security Assessment Strategy report this week. This report, the FSO report, was published about a week or so ago, and it's gone unnoticed by the public, the greater public for the most part. However, this is, to me, and I just started reading it today, this is the national security document for our financial stability. That's how I see it. And I don't know if you're aware of it, Jimmy, but I think it's something that we should look to talk about in the future, along with the National Security Strategy Report um, together.
You know, you're right, but this is the part that pisses me off about not being objective. Everything that's bad with the economy was Biden.
Mm.
What he did in between 2020 to 2024 was bad. And everything in this report is not only since January of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It includes 21, 22, 23, and 24. Okay? It's not a report of the last 6 months.
Correct.
Okay. So, those things that happened in 2021, 22, 23, and 24 that are in this report that show that everything is doing much better now, those things, now we want to attribute them to Donald Trump. No, we can't do that. And that is a problem I have. It's published now, but a lot of that stuff was done prior. Right now, we have no idea, and we have no idea because if you know anything about economics, is that you have to see how things work out at the long run. Look, economics are not the last 6 or 9 months. Economics are the result of the last 6 or 8 years. Economics is not only what a president does, is what we do. It's like the gentleman who said, I got a 3.4 raise. Yeah, that was because you're a hard worker and your employer decided to reward you with a raise. That's not, we should not give credit to Donald Trump for everything. The economy is doing better, yes, but it depends what parts of the economy you want to say. Let me say this, there's 3 economies in this country. One is the rich and the powerful, the 1% who controls almost 80% of the total wealth of this country. 2, you have the myth of the stock market, which is doing excellent. Those numbers are off the roof, off the chart. Yes. And then there's the real economics. You, me, and everybody else. Those of you who are listening to me who are not the 1%, those of you who are listening to me who work for a living, those of you who do not invest in the stock market, so those increases in the stock market are not benefiting you at all, that is a third economy. And that study does not really go into that. It's what I like to call this is the good part of the economy that we're going to show you that is taking off. But they don't tell you in that report that the projection of most economists in the world is that prices are going to increase in the next 6 years at a rate of 2.8 a year. That is not in that report. That report does not include that realistically with the application of AIs, we're going to lose a hell of a lot of employment. That's not in that report. That report is basically one that the council is putting out to make you think that everything is okay. Is there lies in that report? No. Is there omissions in that report? Yes, because it doesn't discuss you. I have a question. You read that report? Please tell me, do you really feel that in the next 5 years, you're going to be able to afford to buy a house, to save money, that prices are going to go down, and that your finances are going to be better. If you feel that way, you're not the average American. And that's what I'm trying to get to with this. Yes, I'm not saying it's a lie. It's just that it leaves out the 2.8 increase in prices. It leaves out that the issue of affordability. It leaves out that AI is going to eliminate a bunch of jobs. And it already has. You go to factories right now, you want to bring back factories, Donald Trump, 80% of the factories here are more than 70% done by automation and by software that you write and runs the factory. Right now, you have software that basically tells you everything. As a matter of fact, one of the jokes is the new word in our vernacular, Google it. Well, whatever Google tells you is true. Well, I don't believe Google at all.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, yeah, the report, Mr. Toss, is partially correct. But he's not going to be known as the best president of all times. As a matter of fact, that's what they said about Ronald Reagan. And right now, nobody knows even, most of you don't even know who Ronald Reagan is. It's serious. The worst president used to be Jimmy Carter. Now he's not the worst president because he did bring peace to the Middle East, and basically he's starting to surface as a good guy. So it is a matter of, as a matter of fact, some people say that Biden is worse than Jimmy Carter. So could that be possible? Yes. If you're a Republican, it's Biden. If you're a Democrat, it is Donald Trump. And that's what's hurting this country, our division.
Well, I'd love for any one of our listeners or viewers to let us know what they think of the FSOC report or even the National Security Strategy report. I'd love to get some feedback. I know I'm developing a blog post in regards to those two reports. That's to come in the next week or so. So I'm glad that Chumbawamba Toes mentioned that. And thank you, Jimmy, for commenting on that. And that makes a great segue. And thank you again for everyone for your comments. I know there are a lot more that I did not get to, maybe next week. But Jimmy, I think it's time for fuck ups for the week.
Okay, I'm going to start with the Democrats. Basically, your fuck up of the week is very clear. You had a chance to force the hand to get the Affordable Care Act funding subsidies. You chickened out. You received a promise which was empty and was obviously not thought to. It was said, well, we'll have a vote on it. Well, you knew you couldn't win that vote because you had no leverage. But you gave in and you got nothing in exchange. You kept the government closed for 58 days and you got nothing in exchange. And now in the Senate, you had the vote and you've been fucked over. So that is your fuck up of the week. Now the Republicans is a little bit more difficult. Could I say it was Donald Trump's presentation last night? Yeah. Could I say Susan Wild's comments? I could say that. Can I say it is Venezuela? Yeah. No, I'm going to make it a little bit more complex.
Okay.
The party is split up. Mike Johnson has no power. He had four of his members, again. And let's get this historically. This is the first time in over 90 years that there's been two forced votes on the floor. Two forced votes on the floor. And let's get this clear. This is twice in less than 40 days. You had the Epstein, and now you're going to have the healthcare. Four members of the Republican Party who need the Affordable Care Act to be continued to subsidize if they have any chance for re-election. They realize that. have joined the Democrats and said, we're going to force the vote on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Johnson's stupid enough says we're going to do it next year. Oh, but by next year, the prices are going to be up, and all the other Republicans in the House are going to get pressured by their people say, hey, my prices went up 300 or 400%. Okay? It shows that you people are not united, you're not working together, and basically at this point, your reelection for those four people is more important than the unity of the party. One of them said something that I found interesting, and this is even more interesting. When asked why, he says, we cannot continue lying to the American public that we have a plan, which we've had for the last 8 years and never presented it, which is true. And we cannot just say to the people in this country, fuck you, you're going to pay more for health insurance and we're going to do nothing about it, but reelect us because we're the right party. No. Or we cannot continue lying. And let me put it this way. This is what he said, and nobody picked this up, but it's interesting. If it's true that the price of medications have gone down 400 to 600% down,
Mm-hmm.
this is what he said, people will be receiving money when they pick up their medication. And nobody's being paid to take medication in this country.
Yeah.
So they realize that they cannot continue going back to their constituents and say, hey, yeah, I know your prices went up. Yeah, I know that this is going to be bad for you, but vote for me because I'm going to continue screwing you.
Wow.
So that is the fuck up of the week. I don't think they understand how important healthcare is in this country. Look, if you don't believe in the subsidies, you do believe in the subsidy, that's not my issue. For the American people, the 21 million that are receiving Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, for those of you who don't like to use the word Obamacare, that's fine. And the law is called correctly the Affordable Care Act, I understand. But you take away health insurance from this country, you're going to pay a heavy price. And these four Republicans know it. And their people have told them, if this goes down, you have no chance of being reelected. Zero. Zinch. Nada.
Right.
You won by a very short margin. Okay? This is where you have to understand. I don't care if you agree or disagree, but healthcare has reached the point of the sacred cow of Social Security.
Yep.
You can, just to take the words of that famous American poet, you can't touch it. Mr. Hammer, great publicity for you. But really, if you fuck up with healthcare and you think you're going to get reelected, it's not going to happen. Yeah. And by the way, there might be the days of Mike Johnson might be counted.
That's right.
So, with that, please subscribe. Many of you have started to subscribe, and I thank you.
Yes.
Also, comment. As you can see, I respond to your comments. Most people who have a podcast get comments and they just ignore them. I don't. I may agree or disagree with you, but I will respond to them. Also, do me a favor, spread the word. Tell your friends. There's an asshole there who's talking there. You might want to listen to him. Okay, that's fine. Hey, there's a guy who's very smart there. You might want to listen to him. I don't care. Just spread the word. You know, or like J.T. Vernon used to say, there's no such a thing as bad publicity.
That's right. That is so true, Jimmy. So true.
So just spread the word. With that in mind, I will be seeing you before Christmas.
Yes.
Hopefully things will turn down. But the way things are going in this country, I won't put too much faith in that one. Because if it wasn't for fuck-ups, this program would not have a reason to exist. With that, I'll see you all next week, and take care and have a blessed time.
You too, Jimmy. Have a great weekend. Be safe. God bless.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.